right, we're here at Birdsall Co in Denver, Colorado, and we are going to go on a plant shop tour. So super excited. Join us. Welcome back to another episode of Plants by Jasmine. I'm Jasmine and I'm on a journey, working my way from being a plant mom to a plant collector. Okay, so right now we're just waiting on Morgan, who we're going to be interviewing with. So we're just going to check out the shop for now. Birdsall Company is also a garden boutique. So as you can tell, there's lots of really fun stuff here. It's a parachute flower. I've never seen this plant before. This is an Alocasia poly. As you know, if you watched our last plant shop tour, we just got our first Alocasia cuprea. So yeah, these have always been something very beautiful that I've been interested in. So we'll see. Another beautiful, beautiful Alocasia. This one might be a philodendron, actually. It's ginormous. Transcantia. I hate these plants. I hate them so much. They are very finicky for me. I can't keep them alive. Like, mine does not look like this at all. I don't know if it's just because I don't have the right lighting for it or I don't water enough or what, but I cannot keep them alive for anything. So. And a quick ASMR. Plant shop style. That is a clip. This guy is also freaking gorgeous. It's a banana plant. It's got some nice color here going on. It's beautiful. So I think something that I want to focus on today, instead of getting like a new plant for the plant collection, hey, hi, is soil. So I've noticed that some of my Hoyas are having more difficulty in the soil that they came in. So I want to make sure that they have what they need. And I see they've got some soil stuff over here. Also, what? We have so many books and cats. So very early on, before the Plants by Jasmine, anything like that, when I was still in Arkansas, I started this very small, I made like one sale, succulent arrangements, and I had purchased like some really nice pebbles at a Home Depot. They were not the move. They browned very quickly, so I learned a lesson there. But anyway, so some things that I'm looking at getting at potentially today would be like perlite. Definitely some orchid bark. This is just potting mix, so I'm looking more for the bark, and then just a regular soil so I can mix it all together for my plants, for my Hoya specifically. Look who it is. Arbor. You know I'm an Arbor girl. Not a paid sponsorship at all yet. It's more Arbor products. You know I'm a big fan of that. You know, another waterfall ASMR for you. Nice to meet you. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Do you own this?
My mom and I own it.
Yeah. That's a dream. I love that so much.
It's not bad.
I was doing a little like looking on your Instagram, and it looks like you guys have been open for like over 10 years, no?
Yeah, so the original owner opened it in '88, and we bought it from him in 2012. And it was this like little tiny little store on South Broadway, sort of antique row. And then we moved here in 2016 and we expanded a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And we only started doing houseplants maybe, I don't know, 7 years ago. And then during COVID, it just went bonkers and blew up. And so now it's over 30% of our business is houseplants and indoor containers.
You know, I really love that. There was another shop that I went to and they opened up in 2020 and they experienced like a very similar thing where it was like booming.
Yeah.
Whereas like we're from Arkansas and like shops were closing, which was such an interesting like twist.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was thankful for it. I don't know why it happened here, but it was a huge, huge, huge year for us in terms of growth in that specific sector.
I love it.
I know.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Great.
What got you into plants first?
So I was raised as a landscaper's kid. My parents owned a landscaping company. So people talk about like summer camp and cool summer vacations. No, I was dragging a hose around. I was sweaty. It was moving plants around. So it was like more the outdoor world. And then, life took over. I went to college and moved away. And then my parents bought this from the original owner because my mother had her eye on it for multiple years. And my mom called me one day. I was sitting in my office. I was living in New York City. I was sitting in my office and she calls me and she says, listen, typical, like very Catholic mom guilt. She goes, listen, I mean, it's not a big deal, but like if you, for example, if you wanted to move back, then, we could run it together. But like if you don't, it's fine. I'll just hire someone else, I guess. So of course I came home and it's been great. And so I always have liked houseplants. My mother is against them.
Oh.
She has like one in her house. That's it.
She was like that place.
She was like that place. Well, yeah, because when we first bought it, it was fountains and containers, which is still mostly our bread and butter. But I wanted to introduce something different to it. So we just went full in on houseplants.
Well, it's gorgeous in here. Oh my. So you're saying that you got the houseplants in, you've got the waterfalls in the pots. What are the margin differences?
We make a lot more money on each fountain and container sale, but it takes a lot longer to convert that. So we're sitting on more inventory of that for a longer period of time. Versus the plants, we're making a lot less, percentage-wise, mostly because I want to convert faster just from a business point of view, but also because I really don't want the plants to be priced so that they're totally inaccessible. So I do like a total nerd. I go around to plant stores around Denver and Denver Metro, and I, not like in a weird way, but I just want to make sure that our pricing is consistent. I want to see what other people are doing so I'm not doing the same thing. If they're doing something great, I'm not trying to horn in on it. I'm just like, okay, not going to touch that. And if our pricing is consistent, then I'm happy. If it's lower, I'm even happier. If it's a little bit higher, then there's a reason for it. But so our pricing is consistent with other independent plant stores. But every plant you convert, you want it to be quickly because it's going to be at its happiest as soon as you buy it from the greenhouse, where it has like the perfect temperature and the perfect conditions. And you want it to be beautiful for the person who's getting it.
What is the care like for that? So you get a plant in, it sits in your shop for a while. You may not know a whole lot about it. Yeah. So what happens? Do you have a lot of house plants that end up dying because you can't sell them, or what do you do?
That's a really good question. We have really, really, really fast conversion. So I go to the nursery and the greenhouses locally once a week. I hand pick and select every single plant. We unpack it from the trucks, we put them out, we water them twice a week. We check for any sort of issues. If they have an issue, we take them to the plant hospital in the back. Occasionally, we have a little section that's called our plant adoption. I don't like to throw a plant away, so if it's not retail pretty anymore, like it got a little bit crispy or got a little bit messed up, I adopt them out. So we actually have a very low amount of breakage for our plants.
Wow, that's super cool. I love that you're so hands-on.
And it's not just me by any stretch of the imagination. I get to go and get the plants, but then they're touched by so many hands to get to your house. It's just crazy. Like I could talk about logistics forever.
I imagine I'm in my head because I work in operations. I'm imagining spreadsheets and documentation and notes and everything like that.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to.
Yeah,
and I'm very into it.
So if you have let's say I see this philodendron Birkin. If you have 5 of those, do you put philodendron Birkin 1, philodendron? How do you do that?
No, so I don't keep inventory of the plants because I'm not a masochist. I just can't. It's just impossible. I'm not going to do it to myself. I just won't do it to myself. My accountant hates it. Don't care. So no, it'll just be like we price it
Yep.
like that. And then every single week when I bring in a new shipment, we go through the invoice and make sure that the pricing reflects the pricing from that week. So some prices will fluctuate depending on seasonality, depending on all sorts of things. So if the price goes up $1, then we put that in. If it goes down $5, that's what we do to reflect it. So the prices can fluctuate a little bit based on what our actual cost was. So there's a lot of logistical checking of the inventory pricing.
Got it. That's very cool. I love that.
I mean, we're trying to be transparent and honest. When I get a really good deal on plants, that deal is passed along.
Well, us plant parents appreciate that.
No, I know. And part of it's really important to me for the plants, but also fountains, containers, all of that you can walk into a store like ours and no matter what your budget is, there's something that you can afford and that's pretty and cute or what you're looking for, Yeah. So we have things that are priced for normal people and we have things that are priced for like plant collectors who are crazy people who will spend crazy amounts of money on a plant. Like that's bananas to me. But I mean, I'm here for it.
Do you guys have any like specialty type plants in here?
So we do. I work with our local nurseries because sometimes you have a specialty plant that right now is $400 for a 6-inch, but because they're 100% in the industry, they know that it's about to hit, Walmart for $25, and so I'm not going to grab those because then I have sunk cost in that, and I'm not going to make someone pay that much money for something that they can now go get at a big box store for a lot less. Will it be less healthy? Yes. Will it be less attractive? Yes. Will the person selling it to you not have any idea what they're talking about? Yes. But it will be available to you if you know what you're doing.
So were you didn't have house plants before this, or did you?
Like personally or in the store? Personally, I remember I've got a ficus ginseng, like the little bonsai, cute ficus ginseng.
Adorable.
I was living in Brooklyn at the time, and I went to this little garden center in Crown Heights, and I walked it all the way home. It was so cute, and I got stopped no less than 4 times by people on the street going, "What is that? So cool!" And I was like, "Let me tell you all about it." So that was my first ever plant.
Wow,
Yeah, that was my
that's a
first
great
ever
story.
plant. And this plant just
totally
geek out on. This plant has been through it with me. So I was working in New York, and my boss left for another job, and I didn't go into his office for like 2 weeks. And I went to his office 2-3 weeks after he left, and he had left multiple plants to die, like a crazy person.
It's really sad.
It's so sad. And so, of course, I didn't ask permission. I just took all the plants in a box on the subway. This guy was like this big, had 2 leaves on him.
Wow.
So he's been around with me for a while.
How many years do you say?
Since I've taken ownership of him, he's 13 now.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Rescued.
Plants are so cool.
They are.
They'll just be with you through all like your life phases, and it's just so
And people will come in and say, "Oh, I feel silly. I feel really sentimentally attached to this plant."
It makes sense.
100% get it. That's a real thing. Welcome.
Look,
He's been U-hauled. He's been subwayed. I mean, he knows.
oh my god.
He knows.
I love that.
I have a plant over there that I can show you. I have a real estate friend whose client was moving and couldn't move this plant with her. This thing is a ponytail palm. It's 40 years old. It is super weird looking.
Oh my gosh, let's go see it. Let's go see it.
So right now it looks crazy because it's being held up by this. But before, look at this thing. But before, we're trying to train it. Before, it was being held by like this weird wooden pedestal. And they brought it in, and the woman was like, "I feel so silly. I just can't bear to toss it, and I know you'll love it." It's like, all right, let's do something weird. So right now we're trying to train it with this very bizarre pulley setup.
It's amazing.
But then we're gonna, we'll wrap it with really thick gauge wire, and we're gonna repot it.
So this pot that it's been in, how long has it been in that
I
one?
mean, she says it's been in there for at least 25 years.
Holy smack.
I know.
I wonder, you're gonna have to crack that thing.
Oh, big time. I'm not trying to mess with this.
No.
And she already has this situation. Like, I'm not trying to torture her more.
I love
going on here.
And that guy's huge too.
Yeah. So
That's a rubber plant too,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So how do you get it the difference here?
we did not grow that. But you can have any rubber plant. First of all, they're super easy to take care of. You can have them shrubby. You can train them to be more of like this trunk with the stalk, with the trunk and then the big branches. But that thing is super old. He's what I would call, I do a houseplant 101 class, and he's what I would call a funeral plant. So not all plants are funeral plants. Like if you get a spider plant and you kill it, it's all right, you're learning. But if you get a gigantic plant that has been cared for and loved for 40 years, or a cactus and you know you live in the north-facing, location, and that dies, which it will, you should feel bad. And you should probably have a funeral for it. Like you should probably not do that again.
That, I've never heard of that, but yes, I agree. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And what we like to have here is also, we work with landscapers and interior designers, builders, developers, property managers. So I like having larger plants too, whether they're in the store, whether I just grab them. But I like to show that we can do something a lot bigger than we did.
It's very cool, cool. So that leads me to classes. Yeah. I was seeing that you guys have quite a few classes. Yeah. So the next one is on the 16th. It's Kakame. Am I saying that right?
Kokedama.
Yeah.
So it's, the Japanese just know what they're doing. They do. They just know what they're doing. So it's sort of like a bonsaiing of a plant. But typically the way we do it is you can do it with a tropical plant because it's a little bit easier, or a fern or something like that. And you can either have it suspended or you have it on like a plate or a saucer on a surface. But it's a plant that's completely wrapped in moss. So the root ball is completely wrapped in moss. And those, you can have them, they're really beautiful, sort of suspended as green moss orbs with plants coming out of them. They're gorgeous.
That's so neat. I saw that. I was like, I've never heard of this before, ever.
Yeah. Wow. Kokedamas. And then we usually do workshops kind of October through March. And then those kind of middle months, we're just so busy with other stuff that we just can't focus on it. And people have lives and want to go, drink in the park. So I get that. I super understand that. But yeah, we do a lot of events. We do a lot of holiday wreath workshops, which are bonkers. Last year we did 250 holiday wreaths. Like a lot of wreaths.
Insane.
No, we do all sorts of fun things. And we're trying, because I don't know all the things. And so we're trying to bring people who know how to do bonsai or I don't even know what it is. It could be just tangentially related to plants or gardens or the natural world. Trying to bring those kinds of workshops in too.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Expand our offerings.
Yeah. It feels like a community, which I think is huge in like the plant community.
Yeah. But we try. And I also think that if you are a brick and mortar store and you're working your own store and you're in it all the time, you're going to get to know people. You've been around for a long time. You get to know people. I see people out in the world. They're like, oh, you sold me my fountain. So that's going to happen. But it's really nice to have returning customers and people who have relationships with you and who check in and come back. And it's really good. It's really
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So but I do want to know like what your favorite plant ever is.
My favorite plant ever? Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. So I never would have said this a few years ago. I never would have. I thought that grafted cactus were super weird and I don't like all grafted cactus. Let me be very clear and on the record about that. Sometimes they look real weird. I don't like artificially dyed plants. I think that's real sadness.
Yeah.
However, I think that the concept of grafting a super finicky drama queen cactus on top of a just happy to be here cactus so that you can actually have this grow, develop, get wavy, get huge and beautiful is genius.
Can you tell us more about this?
So basically, if you were to put this plant in the ground, you're going to kill it because it's a pain in the butt to take care of. It's just finicky. It just wants a lot of things. It's just annoying. So you graft it on top of something that's super simple, that's just excited to be around, doesn't need a whole lot. You treat it like a normal cactus or euphorbia, basically. But because this is the rootstock and this is the frilly thing on top, this is benefiting from this being low key and low drama.
What is grafting? I don't know what this is.
No. Yeah. So this is, and any sort of real science person can, give real information, but here, as the layman understands it. So you're basically, and you can do this with lots of plants. You can do this with fruit trees. Sometimes you see fruit trees that have like different kinds of apples on them, different branches with different kinds of apples. They've been grafted together. So depending on the plant, the way grafting works can change. But for this, basically, you're lopping off the top of this root guy, and then you're putting this guy on the top of it. It's that simple. And you wait, and they will grow together, and they will create, it's basically a symbiotic relationship. They'll create one sort of vascular system. So the water that this is getting is the water that this one is getting.
That's absolutely insane.
It's crazy.
That is
sometimes you'll see them and they look really dumb, but I have one at home that is just, so beautiful. I call it my fire or emergency plant. Like that's the plant that I would leave with. Like to hell with the passport. I can get another passport. Like put the cats in the bag, we get that plant, let's go. That's how I feel about these. It's huge.
It's so cool.
So yeah, these are my favorite at the moment. It shifts all the time.
It does, yes.
The only plant that I hate is a fiddle leaf fig.
I cannot keep them
terrible.
alive.
They're bad and terrible.
Yeah.
They're bad and terrible. Every time someone comes in with like a picture of a dark living room or a dark bedroom with a fiddle leaf fig, I'm like, that's a lie or it's a fake. You're never going to be able to achieve it. There's no point. Don't even try.
They need a lot. They need a lot of light.
Yeah. They need a lot.
What is this guy too? Oh my gosh.
This is a vanilla orchid. We brought this one back from Hawaii actually because, when we travel, we go to garden centers because we're whatever. Yes. We have one interest. So that's been trained along here. It's maybe 4 years old now. It's happy as a clam.
Wow.
I know. We can never leave this building. We have too many things growing on the face.
They're like part of the building now.
To cut down the pieces of wood and just transport them.
I love that. No, well, this is a beautiful shop. It is so cool.
Thank you so much.
I know that you've got some really cool vintage pots coming in March, right?
Yes. So we have, we brought in a whole container from Indonesia of antique limestone troughs and jars. So I'm very excited about that. That might be where my little torture bunny is going to go.
Torture bunny?
The one I'm holding up with the hook.
That is a torture bunny.
Oh my gosh. I know. She's going to be really happy to be released.
We'll go take a look at it here in a second.
Yeah, no, wow. But I think she's going to be put in a dignified antique limestone.
She deserves it.
She deserves it. Yeah. She's lived a hard life. We want the best for her.
Okay, so yeah, I think I'm gonna pick up some perlite today to give it a resoil of some of my Hoyas because they need it. So cool. So I'm with Morgan here at Birdsall Co.
Yeah.
And we have explored so many fun topics today that has been such a joy. I'm going to link all of your information down below in the description so everyone can come and see this wonderful place too. But yeah, we really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.